I want to thank Representative Michelson-Janae, who's with us, Senator Pete Lee, who's with us, for really working hard to advance alternative paths for kids, young adults that get into trouble, making sure they have a real chance of a bright future without being put into the juvenile justice system, which can often have the unintended effect of the opposite, of actually not getting them back on a good path. It's a very important time for those interventions when a kid, as many kids do, as probably we all did in some way, do things that we wish we didn't do in our teens. Sometimes it's more severe than others. And we really have a responsibility to turn our focus, inward on the young kids, young adults, in a very critical time in their development where their life can take different paths, right? They can be somebody that interacts with the law regularly over their life, has to go to prison, or they can get back to their lives in a way where they can support themselves, have a family, really enjoy all the opportunities that our great state and our nation provides. This bill makes key changes to the expanded juvenile diversions program, which expands funding for juvenile diversion programs, clarifies risk assessment screening tools, help inform the levels of supervision. It's a really highly analytical tool that helps determine what the best interventions can be and appropriate guidelines for kids. It sets a clear process for data collection so we can look at how effective different diversion programs are and double down on ones that work and change ones that don't work. And make sure we also have a set aside in the competitive grant process that includes restorative justice practices in community diversion programs. So I really look forward to implementing this bill through and I'm working with legislative leaders to help keep young people out of the juvenile justice system where possible, and help make sure that they have the best possible prospect of righting their wrongs and getting on the right track for life. I'm proud to turn it over to Senator Lee.
Well, first I'd like to thank the governor for signing this bill today and putting into law the improvements and expansion of this juvenile diversion program. What we know in the juvenile justice world is oftentimes juveniles are better served being outside of the juvenile justice system. And as the governor alluded to, many of them will do far better on the outside. This bill promotes community opportunities, particularly for diversion into community restorative justice programs where kids can learn to accept responsibility for what they did, become accountable for their actions, and in fact repair the harm that they have done. Programs such as restorative justice have extraordinary success in reducing juvenile recidivism, and that's our goal. We want to get kids out of the system into community-based programs. What we also know is that the deeper kids penetrate into the juvenile justice system, the less productive are their outcomes. And we also know from the California desistance study that most kids will outgrow juvenile aberrant behavior just by growth. They don't need significant interventions. What they need is a program where they're held accountable and responsible for what they have done and given an opportunity to repair the harm. That's exactly what this bill does, and we appreciate the governor's advocacy of juvenile justice, restorative justice, and alternatives to criminal sanctions. It works better. So thank you, Governor. I want to turn it over to my esteemed House sponsor, Representative Daphne Michelson-Janae.
Thank you, Senator Lee, and thank you very much, Mr. Governor. If you'll notice from the work that we have done, Senator Lee and myself, throughout the time in the legislature, you'll see that we keep trying to move juveniles further and further and further away from the system. And as you heard my colleagues say, that is because the deeper they get into the system, the harder it is to help them create the beautiful life that they could live in Colorado. So as we work piece by piece, step by step, to help our kids stay out of jail, stay out of the system, stay out of trouble when possible, you will see that we will get to a point where life in Colorado is really great for kids to grow up. And when they make a mistake, we're going to help them in a loving, meaningful way. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
With that, or do we want to acknowledge? Go ahead and acknowledge our guest. Go ahead.
I'm Kelly Abbott from the Department of Public Safety in the Division of Criminal Justice, and I just want to thank the bill sponsors and Governor Polis in their support with juvenile diversion. Thanks.
Okay, let's make it the law of Colorado. It's official. It's a law of Colorado.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go, and we have you get one as well. Congratulations, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
The next bill is an important bill that helps our cooperative electric associations. It really affects their governance requirements. We know the role that our cooperative rural electric associations play, and through more effective and representative leadership, the co-ops can do even better for ratepayers, for the environment, for everybody. And I'm signing this bill to amplify the voices of members in our cooperative rural electric associations. I want to thank Representative Amabile, Representative Catlin, Senator Winter, and Senator Coram for their work on this bill. And we need a pen if we're going to sign it. Thank you. It's officially the law of Colorado.